Christine, Alan.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to thank the chair of the committee who came in after when I was vice, and I also had the room to visit these cities when I was still vice chair, carrying out the same job. But your report is stronger than mine. So thank you very much, Honorable Abed. Madam Speaker, the issue of land in the new cities, Honorable Minister, through the Speaker, must be given a lot of attention. In the Fort Portal, the old district was in the control of land against the new city, and they were fighting against themselves. So who takes control of land? What is the succession and the process of taking assets from the city, from the old district to the new city? Properties in Imbarara, they were complaining, Madam Speaker. The old district was in the control of the offices within the city, and the new city or the administrators were not having where to sit. Could those assets be taken by the new city because they are within their jurisdiction now? And what happens to the new district? Honorable Minister, Woodsmith, you are making very good roads in these new cities. Even in Masaka we have them. But what kind of contract did you sign with the Woodsmith? Because after creation of making of these roads, there must remain equipments that will carry on routine maintenance of these new roads. But as we talk now, Madam Speaker, National Water breaks some areas. After breaking those new roads, nobody repairs them. And there is no equipment in place that will work on those roads after they are handed over by government. Places taken from different areas annexed. In Kalungu, where I come from, Masaka was a battle taking some parishes from Kalungu district, Chibisi and the Kasanji. But the resemblance from the time they were taken to the city and where they came from has not changed. There is still dust. You have put there some lights, night lights, but they are all filled with dust. People need to see that. But on what is happening is that you are putting strict laws on these new areas, stopping people from building their type of houses they are used to construct before they came into the cities. So could we see that change take place, Honourable Minister? Lastly, the governance, type of houses, governance structures, we need these leaders in the cities to resemble Kampala city. When you talk about the Lord Mayor of Kampala, he has a vehicle with the name Lord Mayor. Then in Masaka, in Mbale, in the other areas, the chairman, the mayor is still like LC5 chairman of where he came from, with an old double cabin. My interest as I enter Masaka city, as I enter Mbale city, any other city, I want to feel that pinch, interest, love, beauty of Kampala, and my mayor should also be in that kind of status.
Of the capital city with Masaka city. No, I am just looking at the difference between Masaka and then Kampala capital city. Capital. Just put the word capital.
Capital. Okay, city. But at least when you go to Arusha, you go to Dodoma, you go to Dar es Salaam, you see that kind of happiness in their areas. That's what I'm trying to bring. But I want to thank the committee. Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, and thank you, Chair, for the report. Right Honourable Speaker, I personally, we are blaming for the failure of operationalizing some of these cities, and that it is only 4 in operation. But we need also, Right Honourable Speaker, to ask ourselves, is it a necessary expense now to have these cities operational, or we want to fulfill our political obligations of having more members of parliament?
You said how many are operational?
There are 5.
No, there are 10. You have Arua, you have Gulu, Soroti, Mbale, Jinja, Masaka, Mbarara, Fort Portal, and Hoima. Those are operational out of the 15, and Lira, out of the 15.
Out of the 15.
Now 5 are the ones which are not operational.
Yes, thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for the observation. So we are wondering if that expense is really attractive to us now to really operationalize everything. But when we go for the physical development plans, right, Honorable Speaker, there are many of our people who have been residents of those areas for a long time. And it is just upon some people to shift the way they do their things, especially on the issue of land use. Right, Honorable Speaker, our residents keep telling us, this is not only to the cities, but also the town councils and municipalities, that we do not take them through what they need to do, how they need to change their lifestyles. They have been here with graves, with their grandfathers years and years back, but the way they should behave in cities is really a challenge. And that other part of, orienting the population to fit in the city, it needs some special department in this process. Right, Honorable Speaker, the issue of waste management in cities. Very many cities, we are looking at the structural plans and looking at operationalization of the governance, but land for the green zones in the cities, land for abattoirs, land for waste management, as if that one belongs to the MPs to help their people look out for where to, drag their garbage. Right, Honorable Speaker, we would like more
You're saying
elaboration.
the MPs are the ones giving people where to take the garbage?
They are intervening a lot. People keep requesting them, the abattoirs, the garbage collectors and the leaders.
Don't these governments have that land?
The issues with the land, as if that
I'm
one is
saying, don't they have the land? It's just a matter of allocation.
Yeah, some don't, and many don't have, right, Honorable Speaker.
All hear
And the negotiation,
all hear from the minister.
and the
Because
negotiations are not thorough.
I don't want the MPs to be seen to be the ones doing government work. It's not correct.
Yes,
Eh?
right, Honorable Speaker. The negotiations are always not thorough. The land owners keep on complaining as if the compensations are mean, and then land
By the
titles.
way, for compensations to be done, the government valuer does the valuation.
Yes.
The compensation is not just done after seeing that this is your land, I think I should give you 5 shillings. No, there should be a valuation from a government valuer.
Yeah. Right, Honorable Speaker, thank you so much, and we thank the committee for the report.
Thank you.
Those are some of the
Alan.
observations.
Alan, Tony,
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Edakas.
I thank the committee for that elaborative report about our cities. Madam Speaker, I think going forward, we should think about making a law separately to govern and oversee the operationalization.
Which law is that?
Of
Tell
this
me the
city.
law.
Like it is with the Kampala Capital City Authority. Because as a former councillor at KCCA, this helped us so much and is still helping others there to manage the city better. Because the Ministry of Local Government seems to be overwhelmed by the too much work in supervising all the local governments in this country. Because these are cities, we need to see a change. We need to see something looking better, like how Honorable Wung said, that when we go to other cities in other countries, not necessarily the capital cities, but when you go to Cape Town, when you go to Mombasa, you see at least some change in management, rather than when you go to Masaka, it is still looks as if it was like LOC as a district. So
What
this
is the LOC?
local council or local government in Masaka.
Why are you trying to demean Masaka like it is a Masaka is a city?
In the name.
No. MP of Masaka.
And he's
Yes,
the one who made the report.
Let me first have Honorable
Right, Honorable Speaker, for the record and others who are going to read these proceedings after us, when this matter of the cities came, it was unanimous. This Parliament was unanimous, and Honorable Sewanyana was there.
In the 10th Parliament.
I can forgive the MP from Chivoga, because she was not there yet, but I cannot give Honorable Sewungu and Honorable Sewanyana. For us to start debating about cities, we are not appreciating the urbanization policy of government. And now, for you to say every city must be like Kampala or Mombasa, you are not recognizing the growth trend for any urban center. Kampala in 1923 was not the Kampala you see now. Are you in order, Sewungu?
Madam Speaker, I was still driving my point home.
Honorable members, I like when we ask question that is this really necessary? Is it necessary to have these cities? I remember in the 10th Parliament, government had not brought all these cities. It was a give and take. It was a negotiation in the House. People said, if you want us to allow your cities, also give us in this area. It was a fault of Parliament. It was not government. It was Parliament that added the cities. I am telling you, I was there for you knew.
Madam
Yes,
Speaker,
Tony.
I was driving my point home.
Right, Honorable,
finish.
the Honorable Member Sewanyana, I want to invite him to Masaka City.
Yes.
Masaka, ever since was awarded the city status, has grown as the growth center for the entire region.
Thank you.
You need to come to Masaka and see the road network. You need to come to Masaka and see the businesses in Masaka. This parliament gave us money for a new stadium and we are constructing. I want to invite the honorable member. It is not true that Masaka has not changed. Masaka has changed greatly. It is growing. I invite you. I will pay even for your accommodation, honorable, so that you enjoy
the last time Honorable Sewanyana was in Masaka, he was in so he didn't see how beautiful the city is. He didn't see the beauty of the city. Yes, Tony?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members. Right Honorable Speaker, first of all, I want to thank the committee for the report, and I want to support the recommendations. But most importantly, Right Honorable Speaker, urbanization is very significant in development of a community and any area. And we want to support government and this parliament. In last parliament I was there, we supported the creation of these cities. And when you look at most of these towns now, which are being supported because they have become cities, they have become municipalities, under youth meets, for example, you find it changes the structures and the life of people. The economic activities gets more high. Social services in terms of education and health and innovations and business gets much better than before. I want to give you an example of a town, Right Honorable Speaker, where you know very well Apache Town. When you get to Apache Town today, after the support under Youth Meet, the whole town has changed, is beautiful, and the business has increased. When you get to Masindi, when you get to Gulu, now the main issue here is that this will require a lot of support from government and parliament in terms of guidelines, in terms of resources and budget, so that where there are gaps and challenges in urbanization, we are able to put in resources and support it to grow. So I think the general principle here that we should support the urbanization process that government has taken, parliament has supported. Now resources are needed, and that should be the center of our discussion. How do we prioritize supporting as per the report of the chairperson and the committee? And we see that we push these centers, these cities, these municipalities, and even the rural growth centers, Right Honorable Speaker. The employment has increased as a result of having these cities, and which Parliament must support. So I want to thank the committee and think we concentrate on what we need to do going forward because we know the challenges are there. I thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you, Adakas.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Thank you for the opportunity. Let me also add my voice to thank the chairman for the report, and maybe just a comment on two, three things. One is really the issue of access to water. I think the cities, there are new cities that were approved, but with difficulties. If I use the example of Soroti City, we still have the same access point of water from Aoja, supplying the city and supplying Kalaki district, Kabremaido district, and a fleet of all those. I think it would be good for the ministry to now plan a source of water for only Soroti City, and also plan other sources for the other town councils, a fleet of town councils in all those districts. In Kabremaido Town Council, we face water challenges, and it's because we are dependent on Soroti City to extend the water to Kabremaido. I think it would be important for the ministry to pay attention to that. The other is really the emoluments of local councils, which I would tell you is the same issue probably in the cities as it is in the rural areas. Most of the LC1s, their work has increased beyond what it used to be because of the growth in our economy. Today in the city, most LC1s would get paid percentile out of sales of land and things like that. They continue to look for ways to be rewarded. I think the chairman and the committee were right to point out that local councils, whether they are councillors or chairpersons LC1s, they need better, government needs to plan better for them as their level of involvement has increased. And finally, generally the role of what we call a parish or a ward has also increased. Ever since the coming of PDM, we now see large populations around wards and around parishes. And those numbers of population require better planning. As I speak, whereas our policy seems to say health care goes to the sub-county in terms of health center 3. There's a lot that is happening in the parish actually, and the removal of the health center 2, taking it to health center 3 is leaving a gap that is not being filled by policy. And I think that kind of policy needs to be rethought. Even in the rural areas, some parishes are too large even to just provide for the resources. I thank you.
Ross.
Thank you so much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I want to salute the committee for work well done. I am from Terego, but occasionally I come to Arua City, which is one of the new cities. And the areas he alluded to, especially the garbage collection, is so crucial for the new cities. It will be very, very imperative upon the nation to specifically allocate money for the new cities for their operationalization, because the influx of the population is really at a very high rate. We used to run up to Kampala. Now you can imagine the number of buses that truck to Kampala every other day has reduced because we have a city called Arua, and we share Arua with Congo and Sudan. They are lucky to have a city made out of Uganda and in Arua. And also the issue of water challenge. I think whatever National Water had planned is so small now for the cities. I think there is need to plan for water, especially water and sewage corporation. Thank you so much, Right Honourable Speaker.
I need to take note of the issue for the garbage. It's a very serious matter, and that's why you find somebody that brought a motion one time on retention of NTR. Retention of the NTR. Gabriel, then youth.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. I would like to thank the chair of the committee for a very elaborate report. For me, since the window for operationalization of cities has come in, I would like to bring in the aspect of our town councils. In Zombo, we have 2 town councils which were created, but they have not been operationalized. But they are town council and War Town Council. The services, the money they used to get through the sub-counties, actually, the way they are being, the support they used to get from government, actually, because of the creation 5 years ago, they don't have the resources to run the town councils. Secondly, I would like also to ask the Minister of Local Government, since he has come, the policy of urbanization is good. In Zombo, we have Paida Town Council. Since 15 years ago, it has been requesting and it has been qualifying to be elevated to a municipality. To date, 15 years ago, if you see the reports chronologically, they have been qualifying, but up to now.
Honorable Kumu, let's first operationalize what was created before we create others. Because Honorable both is going to stand up, Honorable Angura will stand up on Tororo, but let's first operationalize what was created, and then now we now create others. Once we have the money. Yes, youth.
Right Honorable Speaker, I want to extend gratitude to the committee for a comprehensive report. Honorable Speaker, when the chairman was reading the report, I noted one thing that really made me think twice. He noted that some cities have development plans and others don't adhere to those development plans. Honorable Speaker, as planning professionals, we are often reminded that failing to plan, we plan to fail. Second, Honorable Speaker, these cities that we shape in the beginning, in the end, shape our lives. For example, if you build a city and provide more spacious streets, you invite more cars. If you build a city and create more walking space, you're providing comfortable space for pedestrians. If you build a city and create more space for cyclists, you're encouraging cyclists. Honorable Speaker, even our forefathers here, by 1945, found it very important to invite a German architect to come here and plan Kampala. But when you look at it now, most of the suburbs of Kampala are growing as grand slums. Honorable Speaker,
when you're coming from Entebbe.
Yes.
That is a welcome for you.
Yes.
When you're coming from Entebbe, when you see the buildings.
So, Honorable Speaker, I need to emphasize, it is imperative that we emphasize the aspect of development planning. Honorable Speaker, I believe strongly that these cities were created to alleviate pressure from Kampala City. Now, if we make the mistake of not planning for them properly, and if we make the mistake of not emphasizing strict adherence to development plans, we are planning to fail as a country. It will be absurd for the young people that come after us in 40 years to come to be raised in Uganda, which is one grand slum. It would be unfortunate. So I want to urge this House to emphasize strict adherence to physical development planning for this country's development. Thank you very much.
Eddie.
Right, Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. I want to thank the committee for a good report. Honorable members, here we have the Ministry of Local Government, but is not in charge of the urban policy. The urban policy is housed in the Ministry of Lands. So it means that there is a constitutional conflict, which the government needs to take into consideration and say that if we are developing Uganda, the purpose of having cities and the other urban areas is to have a well-planned country, meaning that there should be coordination and good relationship between the ministry responsible for urban policy and the one implementing or urbanizing the country. That's very important, Right Honorable Speaker. Another issue that is very important is that when the Minister of Local Government was creating the cities and the urban centers, like municipalities and town councils, the Minister of Finance issued a certificate of financial implications, meaning that what was presented by the Ministerial government and the government had a corresponding financial implication. So what happened when you came to Parliament and said that you had money to operationalize town councils, cities, and other urban centers? So is it that those financial certificates for financial implications, if they are audited, were they false or they were correct? Secondly, we are talking about resources allocations for implementing and operationalization of the cities.
Honorable, both. I want you to take note of what is raising.
So, both is
that when they brought a certificate of financial
implications, yes.
That was meant to
and
create.
The honorable members and right honorable speaker, Oboso as the senior minister should be sitting here, because we don't see the Minister of Finance, we don't see the Minister of, we don't see even the Prime Minister.
The Attorney General is also sitting.
So, I would think that at least the other day, the minister in charge of works was actually lamenting. Right honorable speaker, you remember how the General Katumba Wamaza was lamenting and suspending. I thought you were in defense. Honorable Katumba Wamala, the Minister of Works,
you speak about your
did
issue.
come here
Don't talk about
and
you.
suspended national roads because of finance. Now we are talking about operationalization of cities. That's money. We don't see the Minister of Finance. So Honorable Magezi himself is
we
going
know that it is money. Let's first
operationalization.
bring your issue.
As I conclude,
Bring your issue.
we talk about resources, we talk about harmonization of who manages the policy, and actually to make sure that this parliament does not create other urban centers without proving that there are sufficient resources to operationalize those centers. I thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ayume.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and thank you to the Chairman for presenting a good report. Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to draw your attention to the issue of the regional maintenance workshop for road equipment. In West Nile, like the Chairman had alluded to on the issue of equipment maintenance, our regional equipment workshop is 300 kilometers away. That is in Gulu. So the turnaround time of the caterpillars, the bulldozers, the tractors is long, as long as 6 months. So we have to wait for up to 6 months for the technical team to come all the way from Gulu to repair our equipment. Finally, Right Honorable Speaker, I didn't hear the issue of sewage. Most cities have now resorted to septic tanks and soak pits. But I think the colonial government, what they left here in terms of the grid, the sewage grid has not been improved over the last 5 years, over the last 50 years. If you look at what they left in Kololo, Naguru, Bugolobi, and Nakasero is still the same sewage grid.
Sure.
I hope that in the new cities, National Water can also improve the sewage network as opposed to septic tanks and soak pits. Thank you.
Thank you, Akik. Then Angura.
Thanks so much, Right Honorable Speaker. And I thank the committee for the good report. For your information, I also studied urban planning. So whatever has been said here is also important and dear to me. My question is, what is the relationship between the mayors, the town clerks, and the MPs in charge of these municipalities and cities? Technical people and politicians, there's always a disjointed effort. And I don't know how many MPs who are here, who are coming from the municipalities and the cities, are listening to all this, and how many times they go and meet in the councils and find out what is happening in their cities. Colleagues, there is also a
Honorable Florence, it is not only in cities or municipalities. All members of parliament are ex-officials of
yeah,
the
but for
councils.
this case, we have MPs, specifically for municipalities and cities. For me as an woman MP, yes, I go there, I can go to the district council, I can also go to the municipal council. So I think there is need for these three arms of government, the mayors, the town clerks, and the MPs in charge of these municipalities, because that's why we created them.
They are not three arms of government. The three arms of government is executive, legislature, and judiciary.
Madam Speaker, I do understand that by these three sectors, or whatever we can call them, it is important that they link together, because if they don't work together, so you may find that the mayors are doing their own things. We give them 1 billion. We give the municipality 1 billion. And what they do with that 1 billion, we may not even do, because it's easier for the MP in charge of a municipality to follow the nitty-gritty of that municipality. And therefore, and then the urban planning and management is under the means of housing, and then there's also local government. What is the linkage between there? So we need to have some sort of multi-ministerial planning together to come up with a way of fiscal planning. I don't know how the Minister of Local Government and the Minister of Housing and Urban Development work together, because we used to have, when I was an urban officer, because I was a district urban officer in Luweero, we used to have master plans for all these urban centers. And I don't know whether we still have those urban centers. They have even, because planning takes place after the development. And that's why we have slums. We don't plan earlier. So by the time you go to plan, they are already slums. And breaking some of these structures becomes difficult. You may have to compensate them. So if we are shifting, we are having peri-urban areas. These peri-urban areas should be well planned than the CB.
Honorable Ngora, Jessica.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I also want to thank the chairperson and his committee members for a good report. Madam Speaker, you will recall that the whole country was declared a planning area. It is only unfortunate that we are not following this to the dot, and it is high time we emphasized and supported planning, starting with the cities now, but also urbanization in general. The rate of urbanization growth is so high, and this will be good for us even in the near future when we get people to urban settings such that we can release the pressure of land for production, as among others. Madam Speaker, as I support the chairman and all that has been raised, yes, it is really prudent that I also re-emphasize and re-echo the statement that you said. For us as the Tororo and Bukedi, we are among those who are now expecting to get a city. And this city is coming with the relief that the problems that Tororo has been having, we are now privileged that when that time comes, we shall be seeing another 2-3 districts. So how I wish we could fast track this such that we are able to see how to bring development nearer to the people by getting the city of Tororo, which will be in Tororo County, and it should now come with the proper planning, and it should come with the provisions as have been raised by the chair and the committee, such that we see that move out and the districts to come. I thank you.
As Parliament, we got a rumor. We got a rumor that Tororo is supposed to be a city. So I want to hear from the minister that how far have you gone with the issues of Tororo? Because for us as Parliament, we are ready to grant Tororo a city status.
Thank you very much, Madam.
Yes, Lob, Jessica, you don't come from a city. Yes, Jessica.
Thank you so much, Right Honourable Speaker.
I want to thank the committee for a very good report. But Right Honourable Speaker, I want to support the rest in saying that we need to ensure that all these cities are well facilitated. We committed ourselves as a house, we committed ourselves as government. Therefore, we need to ensure that all of them are operationalized. Secondly, Right Honourable Speaker, it would have been better if we had that component reflecting what we need to ensure the implementation of all what we have planned.
Thank you, thank you. And when you're talking about planning, remember you are the same people who did appropriation. You'll need to check whether you did appropriate money for these remaining cities or not.
Lastly, Right Honourable Speaker, I really feel that we need to put more emphasis on equipping and sustaining our regional mechanical workshops. This will provide a bridge between our districts and the ministries. For example, the one in Gulu, Right Honourable Speaker, I am in touch with the workshop, but the maintenance is so poor. I recommend that the ministry responsible for the workshop comes with a comprehensive report so that we get to know the challenges, which is always making our equipments to be down, and we see how to address them. Lastly, Right Honourable Speaker, the town councils are not operational.
Thank you.
Can we also have a report? I have Pakle Town Council. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker, for the opportunity. And I thank the chairman for the wonderful report. And as a member of parliament from Mbale City, most of the things, the challenges we are facing surround funds, and as the minister stated, issues concerning garbage. Right Honourable Speaker, I think we need to address it as soon as possible because, for example, we only have 2 trucks that have to ferry garbage in the entire city. And one, we've dedicated it to the central market, meaning only 1 truck has to collect garbage the entire city, which is not realistic. And when you look at the money that was being sent to Mbale municipality, it's the same money now being sent to Mbale city, yet the scope of work has significantly increased. For example, roads, you will see we're covering about 150 kilometers under the municipality. Now we have over 500 kilometers to deal with, but the money does not reciprocate the amount of work that has been increased. Then lastly, it concerns the assets that were shared. When you look at Mbale city, the district took almost all the assets, even the land in the city now. The Mbale district is owning literally everything. And we do not have any road equipment. That is why we are facing challenges. We have to go to Jinja to bring equipment, and it's very, very expensive because actually even the employees who come with the equipment from Jinja, we have to pay them per diem. You find that we are spending about 70 million shillings in a quarter to pay staff that are coming from Jinja with their equipment to help in Mbale. We look at the role of Right Honourable. We have to depend on the bus of Bukedea because Bukedea has come in on several times to help with rollers to do most of our roads. So we are
Bukedea is a very friendly district.
Bukedea is yes, Right Honourable, Bukedea is a very good neighbor and district, and it has been helping us. But it is sad that as Mbale as a city, we have to look at Bukedea, which is a district, to help us with some of this. And lastly, the issue of garbage, I think, Right Honourable, we need to look at how we can
But where
relocate.
we have equipments on a nearby district or whichever, these are all government property. We should be able to share as we plan for others.
Right Honourable, the challenge of sharing is we do barter trade now. What happens is they will tell us that our equipment needs new tires, it needs new batteries, and we have to go through that cost. Recently, we had to go through the same cost. And you know these equipment, the tires and machines.
Yeah, the cost of wear and tear.
Of wear and tear, yes,
Yes.
which is very expensive. Lastly,
Thank you.
it concerns the site where we are putting garbage as in Mbale City. I don't know what plan you have, but the current site at Doko, it's at the entrance of the city. So when you're coming to Mbale, you're welcomed by heaps of garbage, which is not a good picture. I think it's high time that we go somewhere else, far away from the center of the city, where we can dump our garbage. Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you, Lob.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Let me join colleagues to appreciate the committee leadership for a very good report. I'm only dismayed by something that missed out, which is relevant and applicable to the subject matter. The audit concerns of 2023, Madam Speaker. In December 2023, the then Auditor General, Mwanga John, raised a very serious concern about operationalization of these cities. Funds to a tune of 427 plus billion were dispatched as a startup fund. But in the report, to one dismay, a whooping 41 over billion was swept back to the consolidated fund. And of course, that is justification for lack of absorption capacity by those new cities, even when they were grappling with the challenge of constraints of finances. Because 3/4 of the challenges that these cities are grappling with are compounded by insufficient funding. How on earth would they fail to utilize funds that had been dispatched for operationalization of the cities? Madam Speaker, there are also issues of non-disclosure of liabilities by these cities amounting to 1.763 billion. And this, of course, has resulted from mergers, which I know the minister is aware of. I also concur with the report that experts are urging government against functionalization or operationalization or both of the other 5 cities until the 10 have taken off. The ministry, someone, I don't know whether it is in the report, but I think it is in one of the interactions I've had with the managers of some of these governments, local governments, including KCCA. I may not concur with my good friend, the Honorable Alan Sewanyana, who was proposing that all these cities should be under a similar act like that of Kampala Capital City Authority. That authority, if you read the act, is a mashed potato. And in fact, the mayor, the Lord Mayor and elected leaders particularly are up in arms to have it overhauled, not even amending it. Just because when you read sections of it, just like also in the Local Government Act, I've just been looking for this section 4, paragraph A. It says that the city shall be equivalent to a district. Can you imagine? Meaning that the city council shall exercise the same functions, the same powers that are conferred on a district within its area of jurisdiction. So you realize that these cities would better remain as local government councils than being authorities. An authority gives latitude to the powers that be to make appointments, which in a way infringe on the rights of the powers that are given to the people to elect their leaders. That's why you see conflicts and rifts without number within the KCCA. Yes. Madam Speaker, the issue of guidelines, or rather guidance, let me use the term guidance, by the Ministry on asset sharing is rather taking too long.
Actually, asset management.
Asset management. And even staff establishment, no, staff restructuring is taking rather too long. And it is also causing lots of conflicts and disputes within the cities. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Let's first hear from the Minister, then we can have a rejoinder, if any. Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. And thank you so much, Committee Chair and your members. And honorable colleagues, the reactions given are quite informative, and we do appreciate them. Right Honorable Speaker, I've noted 14 issues which I would need to react to, but my immediate comment would be that we agree with the committee report. And we fully embrace their recommendations. And since most of the recommendations were giving us 30 days for implementation, it would be my considered opinion that, Right Honorable Speaker, you allow us to go and focus on implementing these recommendations, and we come back to the House in 30 days. The members have raised very serious issues which require adequate attention: the urban policy, the governance structures, the statutory bodies, are they performing? The staff structures, do we have adequate staff for the cities? The financing of the cities, and I will be able to show that actually government has increased financing, and even the local revenue has improved. But that needs a bit of time for me to organize. The asset sharing, where are we? The relocation of this district headquarters, I should be able to lay on table the gazetting the new town councils of those district headquarters. And colleagues, it is the law. The law requires that the district headquarters be located in a town, either municipality or a town council. Just cast your eye, there is no district headquarters which is not in a town. So already we've secured that, Cabinet approved it, we gazetted it, but I need to lay it on table for the information of the honorable members. The legislation, where are we with a separate law for the towns? The fiscal planning, which towns have actually developed their fiscal plans, and where are the other towns? The area of the road equipment, very important. I need again to link up with the Minister of Works so that we present the correct response. Remuneration of local government leaders. There is something I should be able to present in 1 month that is really moving in the right direction to improve remuneration of our local leaders from LOC 1 up to LOC 5. The President has already directed. We have a cabinet paper, and I would wish that you give me that 1 month so that when I come back, I come with something substantial to the House. The remaining 5 cities, should they be operationalized? Should they be left out? Including the rural city matters, where are we? The waste management, and I will brief the House that time of the strides we've made in developing the solid waste management policy for the country. Answering the issue, are we going to keep on depositing, waste in the neighboring rural areas, or are we moving towards recycling, improving, turning waste into resources? Allow me to come back to the House. The issue of the sale of public assets, and where are we when we put a ban on those sales? Where are we right now and others? So, Right Honorable Speaker, it is my humble request that since I've bought into all the recommendations of the committee, and I've also taken note of the recommendations of the House, I beg you allow me to take that extra information so that then you give me 1 month to come back to the House. Thank you.
Honorable Minister would also want to have an audit of all the assets that have been disposed in all the cities, in accordance with the section 32(6) of the Public Finance Management Act. I didn't hear about Honorable Angura's question. Honorable Angura asked a question.
Right Honorable, the issue of Tororo City and the proposed other districts out of Tororo. Right Honorable, this matter is currently before Cabinet. We've already drafted the necessary paper for consideration, and as colleague members know, creation of a city, creation of a district is the function of Parliament. So when approved by Cabinet, I'll have to come back to Parliament for the necessary way forward.
Thank you. Yes, Silas?
Right Honorable Speaker, there is one thing that I thought is worth mentioning. The issue of water in the urban councils. Right Honorable Speaker, there is a policy by government that you cannot construct a borehole in a city, in a town council, in a municipality. But we are in a crisis because whereas they are saying we don't put their boreholes, the pipes for extending water in the urban centers are not there. National Water has not yet been given money to extend water in cities and municipalities. The same challenge is facing right now.
Honorable Silas, you're quoting it badly. The provision is that you must seek for authorization where national water is. That is the position, not that you cannot drill a borehole. It's about seeking for authorization.
Much obliged, Right Honorable Speaker, but it is a problem. And they are saying that once water is contaminated because you are using a borehole, there will be a problem. Actually, we are lucky even because the Minister for Water is here. And I chair the Watch Forum, so I speak from an uninformed point of view. There is a crisis. You need to help municipalities and cities. We need money for extending water. And WASH as WASH is suffering in these urban centers. Honorable Minister, you need to speak it all so that we know where you are coming from. Tell us, where is the water? Where is the extension? Where are the pipes? What is happening? What are you doing? What are you about to do?
Thank you.
I thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Minister, it all comes back to what you say. But you've said we give you 1 month to come with the action taken report on as per Rule 229. So we need an action taken report on that.
Most obliged, Right Honorable Speaker. And as I explained, some of the issues raised refer to other sectors, like water, like roads, like the issue of the health units, like the issue of the sewage and so on. That's why I believe, we manage local governments, together with the others. The Minister of Lands may be in charge of fiscal planning, but implementation with the local governments. And of course, in the meantime, as we come back, Right Honorable, I would like to beg the colleagues, within the law, each member of parliament is a member of the local council at the district. Colleagues, help us so that we work together to improve some of these matters down there. I thank you.
Honorable members, the next item we have for Honorable Abed. The report requires a Minister of Health, acting lead of government business. I am told you're acting, Honorable ICT. Can we have the Minister inside? The senior ministers. Senior ministers, we get frustrated as a house when we come here to transact business and the ministers are not there. We have a bill on works. The Attorney General was here. We've been waiting for Attorney General, but the minister to move a motion is not here. We have this report on of Honorable Bedi. The minister is not here. We cannot come and sit here and wait for ministers. It is so disappointing.
Right Honorable, I feel you and I hear you very well. The disappointment that you've demonstrated, I believe that the acting government chief whip, but as a minister on this side, we are going to mobilize ourselves and be here tomorrow as we wait for the feedback from the acting government chief whip, who could have been briefed.
The House is adjourned to tomorrow.
Meteorology. This is the third incident in 4 years in the same geographical location having these hailstones. would want to have a mapping of all these areas in my constituency, because we have around 4 areas, and mitigation measures. But also want to know whether we have the capacity to actually predict where there are going to be hailstones in this country, so that we can avert these incidences. So my brief prayer is, one, on the relief items, but I'm concerned that Ministry of Finance hasn't released money for that, from what the Office of the Prime Minister stated, and preventive measures from Ministry of Water and also Ministry of Disaster Preparedness. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Government.
Thank you, the honorable gentleman from Colin North, and sorry for what has
Is
happened.
Honorable Opio Achot.
I know he's a very good friend of mine. I just wanted to remind his voters about the constituency. It is important to note that he has already informed the Minister for Disaster, and they have the report. So we were going to remind them to act fast so that they can come at least to get some relief to the people who have been affected. But also the Minister of Water is here. They have mentioned something to do with weather forecast. She can also make a statement if there is any.
Thank you.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I just want once more to thank Honourable Opio Samuel. Yeah, as a ministry, meteorology, despite the fact that we don't have enough money, but we have been making efforts for early warnings. We really broadcast these warnings of the weather forecast. It is just, as you said, to tell where there will be a hailstone is still not visible. But the fact is that when we say there will be heavy rains coming, those are accompanying. But also I want to remind colleagues that we need to prepare for windbreakers. The trees we destroy around our homesteads is also part of the problem. So it's a combination of interventions that we need to let our people know. We sympathize with our people. We hope that when we get more money, tree planting should also be universal to all of homesteads to also protect against this. And then we also increase on the predictability of the forecast as usual.
Thank you, Dr. Booker. Dr. Booker.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to raise a matter of urgent national importance about a strategic bridge referred to as Kochi Bridge, located in Waka Parish, Itula sub-county of Obongi district, funded by the World Bank through a project commonly referred to as Dr. Deep, Development Response to
You're talking
Impact
about
Project.
a bridge?
The bridge is a 2.4 billion bridge that has been...
Doctor.
Yes, please.
Can we discuss that in the next item when we are talking about the status of roads? Bring it up in the next, when the minister is here.
Thank you.
Honorable Babiko.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for this opportunity. I rise on increased rate of school dropout rate in Ajuman district as a result of lack of government-aided primary schools in some of the parishes. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, my prayer is government should expedite the process of coding of Kozeza Primary School, Itoasi Primary School, Ozunya Primary School, and Tianyu Primary School. Right Honourable Speaker, we have been following this for the 4 sub-counties of Arinyapi, of Ofua, of Adropi, and Okusijane. But for the last 4 years, Right Honorable Speaker, no action has been taken. I pray that government comes to really implement this, because many people drop out because they cannot access schools in those parishes and the population is too high. Thank you so much.
Honorable Minister, the policy on having a secondary school per sub-county, a primary school and secondary schools, both.
Indeed, it's our policy that we have a secondary school per sub-county and a primary school per parish. And we are making very good progress, Madam Speaker, on this policy. But the House can be updated at the next sitting by the Minister of Education and Sports on the progress we are making on this policy.
Thank you. Next item.
Item 3 on the order paper, statement by Minister on the alleged extortion in the National Identity Card registration and renewal process.
Honourable members, as you may recall, that a member raised on the floor on the extortion for renewal of IDs that is underway as part of the mass enrollment, and a member said money was being collected for this exercise, and because of that most people were not going to register, or most people are not registering. We have a report from the Minister of Internal Affairs, and pursuant to Rule 54(1), I will now invite the Minister of Internal Affairs to present a statement to this effect. And the issue was raised by a number of members, including Honorable Akol, Honorable Goreti Namuga. Yes, Honorable Minister.
Right Honorable and Honorable members, this is a statement in response to allegations of extortion by NIRA staff in the ongoing National Identity Card enrollment and renewal exercise. This statement has been uploaded last minute. Hopefully members have it, and I beg your permission to proceed with the response.
Please do.
Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable members, NIRA began the mass enrollment and renewal exercise on 27th May 2025, and as of 4th August, we have received 8,254,778 applications for renewal, 834,020 applications for first-time registrations, and 33,160 applications for Get First ID for children who are now of age to receive their identity cards. This together is a total of 9,121,948 applications. Card production and issuance is also underway. That said, Right Honorable Speaker and members, NIRA has noted with concern the increasing complaints on extortion, corruption and bribery at service centers perpetuated by imposters, NIRA registration assistants and other cadre. The Vice has taken the following common forms: 1. Selling forms. 2. Paying to skip the queue. 3. Extorting at different stages of the application process by different players. NIRA has taken the following steps to address this menace: 1. Arresting and reprimanding the perpetrators and invoking disciplinary procedures, and below is a list of persons so far reprimanded. In Mubende District, serial number 1, we have Tulibamu, a temporary assistant, registration assistant. Action taken against him. He was arrested. He's out on bond and is terminated. Can I proceed and finish, and then you can answer your questions?
Who is in the answered? General, continue.
Thank you, honorable members, for that observation. I was at the action taken, starting with Mubende district. Some staff of NIRA have been arrested, starting with one called Tulibamu, a temporary registration assistant, arrested out on bond and his services terminated. 2, Sempebwa, another temporary registration assistant, arrested out on bond and terminated. The third one, Naruiso, temporary registration assistant, arrested out on bond and terminated. Nuwaine, temporary registration assistant, arrested out on bond, terminated. District Mitiana Lutaisire, temporary registration assistant, arrested out on bond and terminated. Wakiso Epalat, temporary registration assistant, suspended and later terminated. Mukono Wamala, temporary registration assistant, suspended then terminated. Headquarters here at Kololo, Kasasira, temporary registration assistant, arrested, escaped from detention and terminated. Busia Ojambo, information technology officer, arrested, taken to court and out on bond and on interdiction. Aleptong Hateu,
Out of bond, out of bail.
Ma'am?
Taken to court, out of bail.
Out on bond. I will explain later, ma'am, why they are on bond, because people, the complainants, don't come back to give evidence for prosecution to take place, but I'll explain later.
No. What I am saying, if it is you're out of court, they give you a bail from court. Is it out of police bond?
Bond, ma'am.
Okay.
Aleptong Hateu, office assistant, arrested. That one was taken to court and is on bail, not on bond, and is on interdiction. Chakua Nzi Chankwanzi Nabuguzi, information technology officer, arrested, taken to court, remanded, and also interdicted. Chotera, a number of them have been arrested, 4, bonded, investigations continue. This is Nantongo, Samula, Chiseka, Ayesga. One of them, Chiseka, is a businesswoman. She's not NIRA staff. And then Abim Mwanje, information technology officer, under disciplinary process. We are strengthening internal and external communication across all media platforms, emphasizing free registration and encouraging people to report corruption and advising all persons to desist from corruption. 3, providing forms being sold free of charge. On the how to get the form is included in the report, https://nira.go.ug. Some of these forms are the ones being sold, yet they are available free of charge online. 4, providing an online service that does not require one to have a physical form, also on https://preg.ncis.nira.go.ug/pre-registration, and that one is also available online. 5, sharing with the public a hotline for reporting corruption, and this is number 0776-501-071. And also sharing an email address to assist victims detail the issues they have faced during the exercise. To date, we have received 30 complaints via this email address. Number 7, distributing uniforms with identity tags across the country to ease identification of bona fide NIRA staff. Some challenges have been encountered, and these include the following: clients not willing to disclose the full details of extorting staff and accompanying evidence. This makes cases difficult to prosecute. For example, in Kasanda, The other DC was informed by the complainants about people extorting. He caused the arrest of 2 NIRA staff and 2 non-staff. They were arrested, taken to Kasanda police station for 1 week, but no one reported to make a statement and lodge a formal complaint. They were released on bond, awaiting the complainants coming forward. 2, brokers and middlemen masquerading as NIRA staff to extort from the public. 3, partners supporting the exercise over whom the authority has no control, including local council chairpersons and others soliciting for bribes under the pretext of being NIRA staff. Oftentimes, these act as brokers. Number 4, the literacy levels of some of the clients who are unable to read and write and therefore seek services from middlemen. In conclusion, Right Honourable Speaker and members, this is to reiterate that the process of enrollment and all renewal of national IDs is free of charge. We call upon the public to be vigilant and to be bold to report whoever is trying to extort from them. Together, we can get the culprits. I beg to submit.
Thank you so much, honorable members. You've heard there's a toll-free number that has been given to the public for them to be able to report these cases. And we also need to encourage our members, the population, that in case there's anybody who is extorting money, we should be able to report for them to be handled legally. And then maybe to the public outside there, registration is free of charge. Yes, Honorable Baka, Honorable Baka Blindi, Honorable Baka Blindi.
Thanks very much, Right Honourable Speaker, and I would like to thank the Minister for this information you have given us. It's mostly about the culprits who have been mismanaging the exercise, but our concern is the speed. Even the new one, the younger people whom have taken there, we have taken more than 3 months, 4 months, no answer. Leave apart hours which we were for renewing, that one we don't know when we shall ever get our national ID. But about the new entrants, if we could comment about the speed so that we get hope. You can say for somebody who is being introduced who has gone to Kololo, it will take about, say, 2 months, and somebody will wait for 2 months. But now we don't know when. You just stay without knowing. I wish the minister could help us on that.
Thank you. Honourable Minister, you will also tell us, for those who registered at the beginning, when do they receive their IDs? Yes, Honourable Okot.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. I would like to thank the Minister for the report. Right Honourable Speaker, I also want to bring to the Minister's attention that the drop or the slow pace of renewal of national IDs is not necessarily as a result of extortion. I will give an example in my area and our district as Omoro. Most people are not turning up for renewal of their national IDs because they have deposited their national IDs with money lenders. Because if you are to come for renewal, you need to come with your national ID, the expired one. So most people are not doing that because they have deposited their national IDs with money lenders. So I think the ministry needs to do something. The president was very categorically clear that no national ID, no money lender should accept national IDs as collateral.
Actually, that is outside the scope of what we asked the minister to present. Because if you've deposited your ID with a money lender, what do you want a minister to do?
Yeah, but Right Honourable Speaker, is also important to note that that is also slowing the pace of renewal of national IDs.
Yes, naturally. Naturally, then we come to Atiang.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. And I also want to thank the Minister for giving us that report. Madam Speaker, coming from the islands, allow me to speak about the islands in regard to the national ID renewal. Most of our people have not accessed this because of, I think, the distance between the islands. And when it comes to extortion, Madam, excuse me. When it comes to extortion, this one in our islands comes in a way that people have to travel from one island to get to where these kids are. And they're asked to give in some money. They say, if we cannot access you, give us money such that we can get to where you are. So they say the office has not given them enough money to travel from their office to go to where the people are.
From one island to the other island.
And
so,
some
Minister, you need to make sure that these people reach to the local person down there.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. There's information from Lucy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Let's first hear from
The
Lucy, then you come.
Yes, the issue of distance is a big problem, Madam Speaker. Over the weekend, I was in a place called Okidi in Atiak sub-county. I got a request from the community that I should help them hire a generator so that the officers from NIRA can go closer to the people and register, especially the older people. When I accepted, they said, no, it is not only for old people, even us, the distance is very, very, very big for us. So this is a very big challenge, not just for the islanders, but also for those of us who represent rural districts where there's no electricity and the distances are really, really big. So, Minister, you should really consider this because there's poor facilitation to these people.
Thank you. Stella?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to thank the Minister for the information and the guidance given to the public. Honorable Minister, initially, many people erred while entering their names for IDs. They add third names, which are not actually in coordination with their formal documents now. So there are many people who are making corrections of their IDs. And when they are making corrections, the district's offices, registration offices, NIRA offices, are not able to do that. These are people who are sent to Kampala, to the main office in Kampala to do the correction of their names. And yet you find many of these people are not able to afford even transport to come up to here. And for those ones who still afford, because of extortion, they are not given quick services. Mine is also related to the first person who actually talked about the timing. How long should one take to access an ID? Maybe after registration for application for an ID, or maybe after application for correction of names. I have a teacher who has toiled for over 1 year. He actually applied, he went through all the process and applied for correction of his names. From June last year up to date, he hasn't found his ID just because of ping-pong. And he comes, they tell him to wait, come next month, wait, come next month, up to date.
Thank you.
Unless we become specific with the timing when one should access an ID, then things will be well. Thank you.
Thank you, Grania. Honorable Ibanda.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I also want to join the other members to appreciate the Honorable Minister for the report. But Right Honorable Speaker, in his report, he said they are dealing with the nearest staff in as far as handling extortion is concerned. But Right Honorable Speaker, in Mubende district, a number of people, it is like a chain of people who are extorting money from the people who come for registration. I'm glad he mentioned some of the officials from Mubende that were arrested over the same, but we need to go beyond the nearest staff. Right Honorable Speaker, the other case is about hard to reach areas. For example, we have a sub-county called Utologu.
Honorable Grania.
Yes, right.
You're talking about dealing beyond the nearest staff. That's why the minister is saying some people don't want to give information. You see, there was a business person arrested, there was a medic who was arrested. So you need to encourage your people to give information on who is doing what.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, whenever good enough, I was in touch with my people, in close touch actually. I was on the ground at the time when this process started, and I could actually interact with them and find out what the challenges are. But most of the times I would direct them to see the PSOs, the GSOs, and so on. But whenever I would talk about that category of group, Right Honorable Speaker, the people would actually get more angry because they say they are like some of those people are the ones who do the extortion when it comes to registration, because they have to give them letters maybe to take to the nearer offices, and some of them actually might disguise themselves or misidentify themselves to be in those offices. So, Honorable Minister, a strict measure should be made to ensure that the people who work in those offices also do the needful. Right Honorable Speaker, just a minute about the hard to reach areas like Butologo. There are areas where people do not have access to electricity, and these people also have to be registered. We need to know from the Honorable Minister whether the budget we give to NERA to do that registration does not cater for the generators and the fuel, like Honorable Lucy has mentioned. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Remlicha.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. I want to thank the Honorable Minister for your response or report. The Honorable Minister, I come from Ntoroko, which borders DRC. And in this exercise of renewal, the Right Honorable Speaker, we've had a challenge where people have been tossed here and there because people have got national IDs. These are Ugandans with national IDs. But when they go for renewal, they keep disturbing them. Go back to Giso, go back to Diso, whereas these people had national IDs and the Ugandans. And I don't know, the Right Honorable Speaker, how these people should be disturbed and tossed here and there. Go to Diso, go to the RDC, go to PISO, whereas these people got national IDs. For instance, if people have come for the first time, those people should be vetted. But people who have had national IDs are being disturbed. I don't know, the Honorable Minister, what we're going to do in case of Ntoroko. We've gotten people who have been disturbed, and they have failed to renew their national IDs because of those technicalities of some of their staff members. I want to thank you, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Olympian. Honorable Achon.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I would want to comment on the beautiful report Honorable Minister made. My question, Honorable Minister, or the clarification. Yesterday I went to renew my ID at Kololo because my ID is gonna expire in 2031. And I was sent back that I do not need to renew. I bet it's the same thing is happening to all Ugandans. Do we have to renew when it's still valid or not? Because this is one thing which we would like to know. I think the whole country, they're willing to know. Thank you.
One does.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. I really want to appreciate the Minister for the report given to us. But my concern, Madam Speaker, the reason as to why a number of our people are being extorted in dubious deals. Madam Speaker, we still have some places in our country that do not have clear networks. I don't know whether the Ministry of Internal Affairs has tried to find out that from the ICT Ministry. The case in point, I have a sub-county in my constituency called Bukiende. It doesn't have even a single mast. So whenever these workers are dispatched to Gandhi, register people in that area, they take time. Whoever goes there, they cannot be captured because of the network challenge. So I want to hear that from Minister of Internal Affairs,
Okay.
whether he has taken cognizance of that.
Okay, Peter.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Honorable Minister, I want to thank you for the statement. But as people who come from the islands, I want you to really help us because, like my colleague from Kalangala has stated, that moving from one island to another, for example, moving from Lolwe sub-county headquarters to Hama, Siro, or Wayasi, these people need fuel, but they are not facilitated. That one is a serious issue. Secondly, a case of Namayingo, you find that these people, you have stated in the statement that they have uniforms they wear to identify them. I have not seen any. Was it in isolated places or it is countrywide? And then finally, I would like to know from you, Minister, about Ojambo who was arrested in Busia, and you stated that he's on bail. In fact, Ojambo's case was a serious case, and I wanted to know and you to tell the country that what was the cause of arrest of Ojambo, and then what steps have been taken, because people were there, they gave their statements, and to date, it has not been handled. Thank you.
Buhesh.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to thank the Minister, and particularly for having the details of the culprits so far apprehended and the action is taken, and we hope that the cases will be prosecuted to a good end. Right Honorable Speaker, I take particular concern about people failing to follow up their cases to give more evidence to the police. In my area, we have suffered many more cases, even murders, defilement, rape, where people fail to follow up because of the lukewarm trust they have in some police officers. Secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, another important aspect about the IDs is you find people there were errors done by NIRA people in recording some people's age. Right Honorable Speaker, for example, I have got a cousin sister who is now 86 years. She has got a daughter who is 57, and the 57 girl or daughter has got an identity card. But my elder sister, who is 86, has got an identity card reading 35 years of age. And when you go to, I have taken many people to the district headquarters at the NERA offices, and they tell us they don't have that package or that app in their computers to rectify the error. So they tell us to wait for infinity. So what does the minister say about that one? Very aged people, and the problem, Right Honorable Speaker, we as MPs, being ATMs of some communities, people who have missed on the money for SAGE, they say, you pay us that money because we're qualified to be 80 years, we're not getting the money, so can you compensate us? Because those people have got 40 identity cards. What is the remedy for that?
Thank you. Can we first have that answered, responded to? Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister, can we first have that responded to?
Right Honourable Speaker, I'll start with the one of Honourable Viraro. Errors, and I think there's another honourable member who raised the same. Errors, especially by NERA staff, and especially now to do with old people. Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable Viraro, allow me to go back and work on this and report to you, in particular, Honourable Viraro. I would want further and better particulars of the case so that we follow through. Because if it is NERA staff, then it's up to us to correct the error. But if it's an error by the person, the client, who made the error while registering, that's why I think there's even a charge, because you made an error, and it's up to you to rectify it, but you need to go to the headquarters. Unfortunately, we don't do correction at the district centers in this exercise. And then the islands people, fuel, logistics are all provided. This parliament provided money for this exercise. So there's no excuse at all while islands or other hard-to-reach areas are not accessed. The Honorable from Busia talked about uniform. I said uniforms are not there now, but because we need to identify people, that's why we are going to issue uniforms to NERA staff with tags for ease of identification of those who extort from the public. Ojambo's case, he's on bail, but he's also interdicted. But we don't have the case fully dealt with. He was taken to court and released on bail. He was charged and released on bail. That's what I can say about Ojambo. Places without internet, distances, I think we need to make a clarification of the whole process this far, because you've raised a number of things. Some of them we can rectify immediately, but some, like those places without internet, we need to get stopgap measures, but share the same with the public on what alternatives we have for places without internet, and especially for old people who can't move up and down. Then the Honorable Achon, your ID is still valid, yes, up to 2031. But since the new ID has more features, enhanced features, including the iris, you still can apply to change. There's that provision.
Is it can or you should?
You may, Right Honorable, but if you want to remain with your valid ID until it expires, you can do so. But if you choose to change to the new one, you are allowed. I don't know why they pushed you away, Honorable Achon. I'll assist you to have your features taken for the new ID. And yes.
Honourable Minister, Madam Speaker, we had an opportunity of taking these IDs, all the data from here. But could the Minister explain to this House what's the timeline of releasing and issuing out these national IDs? Because by the time you came here, you had promised 2 weeks. Now they're over a month.
He's going to respond to that. He's responding point by point. He has not reached there.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you for being very good.
There's another clarification.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Oh.
Right Honourable Speaker, the clarification I would like to ask is in regard to the expiry of the national IDs. Right Honourable Speaker, I am a Ugandan. And when you give me expiry of a national ID, say for example 10 years, does it mean that you have only given me 10 years to be a Ugandan and so I might have to change or what? Because I am born here, I am from here, and I expect that at least the national ID should be open so that we don't bother people. And this exercise should not be optional for us to say that we are going to renew the IDs, and for those who have IDs that have expired. It should have been a national exercise for everybody, and we shift from where we have been to now the new system so that the IDs are uniform. Taxpayers' money should be used in the right way. Right Honourable Speaker, that's the clarification I would like to seek, whether after 10 years I will cease to be a Ugandan.
Thank you. One would also ask, why do you give expiry date for a passport?
Right Honourable Speaker, and the Honourable Amero in particular, 10 years, I explained earlier, this issue is universal practice. And the assumption is that in 10 years, your features change. But I understand, and that is a sentiment shared by many people. Even the cost of renewal is not affordable, I think, for the country. So maybe as we get more access to smartphones, as we get more access to the internet, we shall reach a day when we shall just scale up the features online. I agree it's disturbing 10 years, every 10 years to spend all this money to renew. But the assumption is that in 10 years, features of a person change. In 10 years, the ID itself, the paper ID, degenerates. But we would want, hopefully, to go to the e-ID and even the e-passport when all the conditions are conducive. If I may, I want to go to the other questions and then I wind up. Honorable Agookya, people on the border tossed around, yet they have old IDs. We shall work on that one and sort it. The Honorable Nakaziwe, you don't need to pay money for these people to access you because money was given for the exercise, including generators and all those excuses that people have been making for not coming to the people to register them. Honorable Akelo Okibi, I think we shall review the exercise and the constraints this far and then make a general statement to the public, especially regarding hard to reach areas. Honorable Nachimuri, I think I answered that one. Honorable Court, money lenders have IDs. IDs are not collateral. We have talked about this, and it takes two people to make this mistake. The card holder, but also those money lenders. Both are culpable. So we want to, with the help of leaders like you, Honorable Court, if you know, some of our people I think are vulnerable because they don't have anything else to stake in order to get loans. That's unfortunate that they reach an extent of giving their IDs. But I think we need to take it together as leaders and get those IDs from the money lenders for them, for the people, to have them renewed during this exercise. If you can help with further and better particulars so that we follow up, because it is illegal to hold somebody's ID as collateral for a loan. Speed of issuance of cards. Initially we had a hitch, but now card issuance is ongoing. We had a hitch because this exercise has been between USPC, which was given the contract for cards, and then another contractor for the software. The software was more advanced than the card aspect, but the card aspect is also catching up, and we have got cards, but there are protocols for filling the information from the software to the cards. That's why we got a delay, but so hopefully...
Honorable Minister, when you acquired the software, and couldn't you get to know that there's compatibility?
Compatibility is there, yes, but the availability of the card, ma'am, was a little bit delayed. The money was paid, but we delayed to get the cards to be concurrent with the software. But we have corrected the anomaly, and card issuance will be faster. Hopefully, not beyond 2 months going forward. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker and honourable members.
Thank you. Honourable members, you've heard the issue of the cards. Yes, Christian?
Yeah.
Christine.
Thank you so much, Right Honourable Speaker. I want to appreciate the Minister for the report. Right Honourable, there's a statement that the Minister made and said that some staff were arrested and terminated. I expected him to have given us a reason or a confirmation that before the termination of those officers, some confirmation was seen that they extorted the money. Because for purposes of the record, we needed that. Madam Speaker, in Kumi District, we have categories of children who have not got their names.
Honorable Christian, they were arrested, taken to police. Police did the investigation and found them culpable. By the time they find them culpable, that's when they are sanctioned to be taken to court. Some of them are on court bail, others are on police bond. And it is based on that report that an action was taken. If you heard very well how the minister was explaining.
Much obliged, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable, we have a case of children who were registered that time in primary and now they're in secondary, but up to now they don't have their NIN numbers. May we get an update from the minister on the plan to have these children helped? And then we have also students who had problems with their names and dates of birth, and they applied to NIRA. That time they were supposed to get the current IDs that we are having, but they were not successful. Could we have information from the minister on the way the ministry is trying to see how to help that category of the students and other people who had mistakes in their IDs that they have at the moment? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. The clarification that I'm seeking from the minister concerns the issue of people who had who made errors in their IDs. The minister stated that there are cases where the errors were made by the staff, the NIRA staff, and there are errors that were made by the applicant. The clarification I'm seeking is, how are you able to determine which error was done by who, either the applicant or the NIRA? Because, for example, I have a relative, he's Masaba, but they spelled it as Masabo. Instead of A, they put an O in the name, but he was made or forced to pay that money in order to change these names. So I want to know how they're able to determine, because as far as I know, everyone who is trying to change any detail on their national ID is being forced or is being made to pay this money, which is quite huge.
Thank you. Honourable Minister.
I'll start with the last one. There are some unscrupulous people who change their dates of birth, especially civil servants, just because they don't want to retire. That's one deliberate mistake we note in the exercise of registration. And then there are people who today they write their parents are A, then tomorrow they say they are B. Really, that one cannot be NIRA staff. So those are examples of the mistakes of the applicants. But for the names, that one I think it's most likely by NIRA staff, honourable member. So we shall correct that one. And then, yes, Honourable Wakabulin, just a minute, I wanted to, okay, Honourable.
Minister, you become a speaker. Can you finish what you're supposed to? Honourable
Thanks very
Wakabulin.
much, Right Honourable Speaker.
First wait. Let him first respond to what was asked, then you come in.
Honourable.
You just sit near here.
Honourable Christine talked about, but the Right Honourable Speaker clarified that one. On those, he wanted confirmation of termination. I can produce it. But they were terminated because administratively we had to take action. Once a complaint is raised, even without concrete evidence, I think it's best that somebody stands aside, even as investigations go on. Registration of children in primary schools, their names were issued, but most cards are not collected. We have a heap of cards, and I think we shall update the public on this subject, and also the subject of helping students who made errors. This is for Honourable Christine. Last, I want to answer Honourable Amera. I never clarified. Citizenship never expires, and evidence of citizenship is the NIN. Even with the tenure for the ID, the citizenship of a person doesn't expire. I want to thank you, Right Honourable Members.
Honourable Kapulindi has some clarification.
Honourable Sewung also, ma'am, with your permission, wanted to ask.
Yeah, thanks very much, Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable Minister. Arising out of his question that how do you tell that the error was made by the staff or the applicant? I escorted one friend to NIRA claiming that they had made a mistake so that he could not pay the 200. They went into their data and proved that it was him who had made a mistake. So they have those features that they capture.
Thank you. Honorable Minister, the question is, how did you determine whether the error was made by the NERA staff or by the person who filled the forms? Because if it was made by the NERA staff, why are you making them to pay the money?
Right Honorable Speaker, it depends on the nature of the error. Sometimes it's apparent on the record, on the surface.
It could be a typo error. Masabo.
Those ones most likely are by NERA staff, Right Honorable Speaker.
So that's what he was saying, that the person was still made to pay the money. Anyway.
That was unfortunate for...
It is an agreed position. It is a position of government that registration is for free. Where there is an error that is made, a district or wherever the registration is taking place cannot be able to correct the errors. All the errors will be corrected at headquarters, and because they are the only ones who have the access rights for them to be able to correct those errors. And then there is a toll-free number that should be used by the public to ensure that we have a corruption-free system where people are extorted, where they extort money from, and the public is urged to report any attempts of extortion by either NERA staff or those who claim to be agents of NERA or anybody else, and an action will be taken. Next.
Item 4 on the order paper. Motion for adoption of the report of the Committee on Government Assurances and Implementation on the status of the assurance to fully operationalize newly created cities.
Honourable members, you recall that in April 2020, Parliament approved the creation of 15 new cities, which staggered with the staggered timelines for commencement of 7 cities in July 2020 and others between 2021 and 2023. To date, only 10 cities out of the 15 cities have been operationalized. The Committee of Government Assurance and Implementation has inquired into this matter, and they are ready to report. And pursuant to Rule 185.4, I will invite the chairperson of the committee to give us his report on this. And I'm also happy to note that the minister is around to respond to whatever is being raised.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable Members. Right Honourable Speaker, I beg to lay the report of the Committee of the Government Assurance and Implementation on the status of the assurance to fully operationalize newly created cities. I beg to lay the report and the minutes there attached.
Please lay.
Right Honourable Speaker, I beg to present the report of the Committee of the Government Assurance and the Implementation on the status of the Government Assurance to fully operationalize the cities. Right Honourable Speaker, the report is available, but I'm asking to present a summary of this report. The honourable members, I beg they will read.
Please go ahead and give us a summary.
Right Honourable Speaker, our scope covered 10 areas, which I'm going to go through in a summary form. We looked at the legal and the regulatory framework of these cities. On the 28th of April 2020, the Minister of Local Government, Honorable Raphael Magezi, tabled a motion seeking Parliament approval of the proposal to create new districts new cities, it should have been new cities, which Parliament approved on the 28th of April 2020. The new cities were to be operationalized in clusters beginning 1st July 2020 to July 2023, with Jinja, Mbalala, Gulu, Mbale, Arua, Fort Portal, and Masaka, taking effect with the new financial year 2020-2021. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to go to the observations and recommendations. On the legal and the regulatory framework, the committee observed that despite that the Attorney General provided his opinion, the minister failed to present regulations to address contradictions between cities and districts. The regulations are intended to streamline the operation of the Local Government Act, Section 175.1. Section 175.1 requires the minister to make regulation for effecting the provision of the Act. Number 2, whereas the creation of the new cities does not violate any provision of the Constitution of Uganda, their management and administration needs to be harmonized. The committee recommends that the government should introduce appropriate bill to govern cities in their uniqueness in operation, structure, and service delivery. In alternative, the government should amend the Local Government Act to incorporate administrative and governance legal frameworks for cities. The Minister of Local Government should come up with regulations to govern on the governance of cities and table them before Parliament within 3 months from the time of this report is adopted. Number 2, we looked at the physical development plans of these cities. Right Honorable Speaker, the Minister of Local Government classifies gazetted cities, municipalities, town councils as urban areas. The Local Government Act, Cap 243, empowers the ministry to declare an area urban if it satisfies the following criteria. 1, has a minimum of 25,000 people for a town council, 100,000 people for municipality, 500,000 people for a city. B, has a master plan for land use. C, has available water resource and can meet the cost of providing services. D,
is it a resource or sources?
Sources. D, preparation of urban physical plans. Right Honorable Speaker, again allow me to go to the observations. The committee observed that whereas the cities have approved physical plans, developments are not guided by those plans. The ministry has not yet provided funding for new cities to develop physical development plans. For those that have plans, funding was provided by development partners. The majority of the residents in these new cities live in unplanned areas and as a result experience development problems that put more strain on the already existing infrastructure. According to the Building Control Act Section 28(3), the chairperson for the Planning and Development Committee of the District Council shall be the chairperson of the District Building Committee. Subsection 5 provides that the chairperson of the Urban Planning and Development Committee of the Urban Council shall be the chairperson of the Urban Building Committee. Contrary to the above, the committee established that in most of the cities, building plans were considered and approved by city building committees chaired by the Secretary of Works. The committee was informed that the above irregularity was as a result of fraud and corruption. The committee recommends that the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development should ensure that all cities are facilitated to develop their respective physical development plans within the next 2 financial years. The Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development and the Ministry of Local Government should ensure that all city developments adhere to the approved physical plans. The ministry should play its oversight role to ensure that the building control committees in all cities comply with the provisions of the Act. Cities that have not gazetted their intended development plans should do so and consider people's concern or opinions over the same. The chairperson of the Urban Planning Committee should be the officer to chair the city building control committees instead of secretaries of works as provided by the Building Control Act. Right Honorable Speaker, the committee considered the staffing and recruitments of these cities. Again, I want to go straight to the observations. The committee observed that the staff structure of cities, which was approved by Cabinet in January 2022 and adopted by the respective city councils, has never been filled, which means cities are operating with less than half of the required staff. I beg the members to refer to Table 1 and see the recruitment levels of each city. Number 2, all affected cities suffered from a shortage of staff due to the ban on recruitment by public service, despite the variability of the wage. The current position by the Ministry of Public Service is that the ban applies only to the recruitment on replacement, a situation that has greatly affected staffing levels in all cities and mother districts. The committee recommends that the government should ensure the implementation of the approved human resource structure for cities and lift the ban on recruitment. Number 2, the committee recommends that the government should provide an adequate budget for both the new cities and the parent districts to remedy the shortage of staff in the financial year 2024-2025. That was then when the committee made the report. Number 3, the committee recommends that the government should fast track the salary review commission in local governments. Right Honorable Speaker, the committee considered asset sharing between the cities and the mother districts. And the committee observed that the Ministry of Local Government has never issued any guidelines to facilitate the smooth operationalization of the new cities in question, including asset sharing. Number 2, the committee observed that the absence of guidelines has led to hostilities between the new cities and the parent districts. In some instances, local officials in the parent districts have taken advantage of the vacuum to sell off existing public assets, especially land. The committee recommends that the Minister of Local Government should lay before Parliament guidelines for asset sharing between the new cities and parent districts within 30 days. Number 2, the committee recommends that the Inspector General of Government, IGG, should carry out an investigation into all the alleged fraudulent transactions of assets in the newly established cities. Report to Parliament within 3 months and prosecute the culprits. The committee recommends that the sale of public assets, including land, be halted until the Ministry of Local Government lays before Parliament the guidelines on asset sharing between cities and the parent districts. Right Honorable Speaker, we also considered the road equipment for these new cities. The committee observed that lack of road equipment has affected cities' efforts to maintain already dilapidated roads, mainly because they have to incur mechanical repair costs for the road construction equipment, most of which was already grounded when the cities were still under municipal status. The committee recommends that, 1, the government provides funding for the procurement of durable road equipment and improves on the existing equipment for all the new cities. The equipment, among others, should empower cities to construct paved roads in the financial year 2024-2025. That's when we wrote the report. The committee recommends, 2, that the Ministry of Works should adequately equip regional mechanical workshops to prevent the high cost of transport and delayed maintenance works. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, the committee also looked at the statutory bodies. And the committee observed that although the Ministry of Local Government enabled cities to establish required statutory bodies, these were not well facilitated to enable them to effectively execute their mandate. The committee recommends that the government should provide adequate funding to enable statutory bodies in the cities to execute their mandate. Right Honorable Speaker, the committee also looked at the relocation of new district headquarters. And the committee observed that the government had neither supported the district local governments to relocate to new headquarters, nor facilitated cities to set up their new offices. Number 2, the committee observed that there is no law that requires that a district headquarters must be constructed in a place recognized as a town. Paragraph 2 of the 3rd schedule of the Local Government Act only requires such a declaration of town to be made after construction of the district headquarters. The committee observed that in some cities visited, the mother districts were constructing premises at the sub-county headquarters, implying that the town council offices needed relocation as land that housed them had been taken over. The committee recommended that the government should implement its early commitment of equal startup funding for all the mother districts. That was by then. Number 2, the committee recommends that the Ministry of Local Government should gazette the new town council locations that already house the new district headquarters within 45 days from the date of the adoption of this report by Parliament. I know that this recommendation may have been overtaken. Right Honorable, the committee recommends that the government should allocate funds to enable both the new cities and the mother districts to establish new infrastructure. Right Honorable Speaker, the committee also looked at office space and accommodation for these new cities. And the committee observed that the majority of staff for the new cities still occupy and use the office space for the old municipalities, which is not sufficient for their smooth operation. The committee recommends that the government should provide adequate funding to mother districts to construct and furnish new district headquarters as a priority in 2024-2025. The government should introduce a legal framework to streamline and guide both mother districts and the new cities in asset sharing and relocation and infrastructure. Right Honorable Speaker, the committee also looked at remuneration of political leaders in the new cities. And the committee observed that Regulation 4 of the first schedule of the Local Government Act, cities with high local revenue will have more funds to spend on emoluments of their officials as compared to those with less revenue, which not only creates discrepancies in payments to the public servants, but also creates room for abuse of funds in a disguise of emoluments. The committee observed that discrepancies in emoluments and allowances cause a decline in morale and create unnecessary competition for jobs within high revenue generating local governments and low level generating local governments, thus attracting an environment of corruption. The committee recommends that the government should introduce a bill that will govern the operation of cities. The committee recommends that the government should amend the Local Government Act and any other relevant laws that govern a city or urban area to harmonize the salary and emoluments of staff and political leaders regardless of revenues generated. Right Honorable Speaker, the committee looked at the funding of the cities. And the committee observed that the process of creating cities was done without due consideration of the criteria laid out in the Local Government Act, Cap 243. The committee observed that in the process of creating these cities, some rural sub-counties were annexed to the existing municipalities without putting into consideration several critical issues about the future growth and development of the cities. The committee observed that the government has failed to fund cities as per the status. The committee recommends that the government should ensure adequate and sustainable funding to the newly created cities in the subsequent financial years before the remaining 5 cities take effect, that is Entebbe, Moroto, Nakasongola, Kabale, and Wakiso, to enable them to meet the demands and expectations of a city status. The committee recommends that the government should be transparent with Parliament and the public, stating whether it can fully implement this commitment. General observation. The Committee on the Government Assurance and Implementation did its assessment and found gaps in the operationalization of the 10 cities created by government and approved by Parliament. The gaps were largely attributed to lack of an enabling regulatory and legal framework, office space and accommodation, appropriate physical development plans, inadequate staffing, and inadequate funding. Conclusion. The committee concludes that to a large extent, the government has not implemented this assurance to fully operationalize the new cities. I therefore pray that the report of this Committee on Government Assurance and Implementation and the status of implementation of the government assurance to fully operationalize the newly created cities be considered by this House and the recommendations therein adopted. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, I beg to report.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman of Government Assurance, for that good report. I want to thank you for the report. Honorable Minister, on the issue of asset sharing, you talked about having the guidelines, but mine, I picked an interest on fraudulent sale of assets for the public. I want you to respond to that in line with Section 32(6) of the Public Finance Management Act. Yes, Honorable Seungu. Christine, Alan.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to thank the chair of the committee who came in after when I was vice, and I also had the room to visit these cities when I was still vice chair, carrying out the same job. But your report is stronger than mine. So thank you very much, Honorable Abed. Madam Speaker, the issue of land in the new cities, Honorable Minister, through the Speaker, must be given a lot of attention. In the Fort Portal, the old district was in the control of land against the new city, and they were fighting against themselves. So who takes control of land? What is the succession and the process of taking assets from the city, from the old district to the new city? Properties in Imbarara, they were complaining, Madam Speaker. The old district was in the control of the offices within the city, and the new city or the administrators were not having where to sit. Could those assets be taken by the new city because they are within their jurisdiction now? And what happens to the new district? Honorable Minister, Woodsmith, you are making very good roads in these new cities. Even in Masaka we have them. But what kind of contract did you sign with the Woodsmith? Because after creation of making of these roads, there must remain equipments that will carry on routine maintenance of these new roads. But as we talk now, Madam Speaker, National Water breaks some areas. After breaking those new roads, nobody repairs them. And there is no equipment in place that will work on those roads after they are handed over by government. Places taken from different areas annexed. In Kalungu, where I come from, Masaka was a battle taking some parishes from Kalungu district, Chibisi and the Kasanji. But the resemblance from the time they were taken to the city and where they came from has not changed. There is still dust. You have put there some lights, night lights, but they are all filled with dust. People need to see that. But on what is happening is that you are putting strict laws on these new areas, stopping people from building their type of houses they are used to construct before they came into the cities. So could we see that change take place, Honourable Minister? Lastly, the governance, type of houses, governance structures, we need these leaders in the cities to resemble Kampala city. When you talk about the Lord Mayor of Kampala, he has a vehicle with the name Lord Mayor. Then in Masaka, in Mbale, in the other areas, the chairman, the mayor is still a KLC5 chairman of where he came from, with an old double cabin. My interest as I enter Masaka city, as I enter Mbale city, any other city, I want to feel that pinch, interest, love, beauty of Kampala, and my mayor should also be in that kind of status.
Of the
Madam
capital
Speaker,
city, the capital city with the Masaka city. No, I am just looking at the difference between Masaka and then Kampala capital city. Capital. Just put the word capital.
Capital. Okay, city. But at least when you go to Arusha, you go to Dodoma, you go to Dar es Salaam, you see that kind of happiness in their areas. That's what I'm trying to bring. But I want to thank the committee.
Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Thank you.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, and thank you